It's always a pleasure to rise on behalf of the great citizens of Brantford, Brant South, Six Nations. It's more particularly poignant for me, given today's topic and given my prior history in the criminal justice system. And I would dare say, Mr. Speaker, that one of the driving forces for me to leave behind, at that point, almost 28 years in the criminal justice system, to become a legislator is because I saw firsthand, daily, the firsthand tragic consequences of the failed soft-on-crime agenda by this Liberal government. Starting in 2015, making the changes in 2019 with Bill C-75, later in 2023 with C-5 and C-83, the cumulative effect is now Canadians are living in a state of fear. Canadians are waking up every single day to reading, seeing, and hearing about one heartbreak story after another, usually someone who has been killed, someone who has been wounded, maimed, injured, had their car stolen, had their home invaded, been subject to sexual assaults, and lo and surprise, we have individuals who are committing these offenses, who are on numerous releases, who are classified by the police services as being well known to them because they are repeat violent offenders. That is the reality that Canada is facing. This was not the reality prior to 2019, Mr. Speaker. In 2019, there was a balance in our criminal justice system where the rights, the constitutional rights of the accused, the right to be presumed innocent, the right to reasonable bail, was balanced evenly with community safety and the safety of victims. We saw more releases and we saw more detention orders, and people had a level of confidence that things were working as they were supposed to. But this government decided in 2019 to lie to Canadians. Justin Trudeau and his former ministers deliberately lying to Canadians by saying,
Order. There are certain words that we do consider unparliamentary, so I just encourage the member to leave out those words and carry on with his comment.
Misleading Canadians into believing they were simply codifying language from the Supreme Court of Canada. The decision they were referring to, Mr. Speaker, was Antic. And Antic basically reiterated the principles under the Charter of Rights and Freedoms that apply to people who are factually innocent, although charged with a serious crime. Justin Trudeau and his ministers said they were taking the language from Antic and applying that to the criminal code. Well, the decision in Antic never directed the federal government to do anything. It was a reminder about the balance that needed to take place every single day in every single courthouse in this country. Justin Trudeau and his then Justice Minister, David Lametti, decided to make it one step easier for criminals. They introduced the principle of restraint under Section 493.1 of the Criminal Code, which then said, regardless of the grounds of detention in the Criminal Code, the primary ground, are you going to show up for court? The secondary ground, is there a protection issue for the public? Is there a presumption that this person is going to be incurring further charges if released? And the tertiary grounds, to maintain the confidence of the public, depending on the severity of the charge. Those three grounds worked, but Justin Trudeau and David Lametti decided to introduce the principle of restraint. That telegraphed to every judge and every justice of the peace hearing bail applications to this day that they shall, mandatory language, shall release the accused at the earliest opportunity on the least restrictive conditions. Regardless of what the charge was, regardless of the carnage the charge has caused to the community or to the victim, regardless of the offender's criminal record, which may have showed a pattern of breaching court orders or a pattern of committing that same offense again. And then, get this, Mr. Speaker, regardless of the number of outstanding releases that person may be on, that person, according to this Liberal government, was worthy of release. That, Mr. Speaker, is the origin of catch and release. That is the reason we have the problems that exist today. Now, I know the member for Winnipeg North likes to turn everything into a partisan issue. But to my colleague from Woodstock, this particular bill and our arguments are not partisan, because community safety is not a partisan issue. Every member in this House represents constituents. And those constituents want to wake up in their home that is still safe. The windows are still intact. The doors haven't been broken in. That their vehicle is still in the driveway. That their kids can play safely in the backyard, can play street hockey on the streets, and not be hit by stray bullets, or not be invaded at night, as we are seeing constantly, day after day after day. That's what Canadians want. And that's why this is not a partisan issue. The number one responsibility of that Liberal government, Mr. Speaker, is to keep Canadians safe. So despite what the member for Winnipeg North saying, that the Prime Minister has a robust agenda that he's promised Canadians, this is a classic bait and switch. We heard these promises during the election. We heard the promises in the throne speech. We have heard numerous members on that side of the House make promises that it's coming. But here we are, 7 months removed from when this Prime Minister became the new Prime Minister of this country, and we are still waiting. And in that time frame, people are dying. People are fearful, people are being sexually assaulted, people are being extorted at an alarming rate. Just take a look at these statistics, Mr. Speaker. Because of Liberal bail laws, violent crime up 55% since 2015. Firearm crime up 130% because of Liberal bail laws. Because of Liberal bail laws, extortion skyrocketed 330%. Because of Liberal bail laws, sex assaults up 76%. Because of Liberal bail laws, homicides up 29%. So that's why, if they don't want to exercise their number one responsibility, get out of the way. Let us bring forth common sense solutions to protect Canadians. I brought a petition that I was hoping was going to go viral across this country this past July, calling for the immediate repeal of the principle of restraint, restoring safe streets, and applying the principle of community safety, just like the member of Woodstock has done in our Jail Not Bail Act. And you know what, Mr. Speaker? Since the middle of July, 60,000 proud Canadians that those members in the government represent, sign my petition. Because for the last 4 years, this government has heard from premiers, has heard from mayors, has heard from presidents of police associations, has heard from police chiefs, has heard from victim advocacy groups to do one thing: change your approach to bail. Keep Canadians safe. So here's your opportunity to the Liberal government. If you want to clearly distinguish yourself and remove yourself from the Trudeau legacy, here is your opportunity. Stand in support of the Jail Not Bail Act, or abstain from the vote. But please telegraph to your constituents, who I'm sure are going to be watching our speeches today, and if they're not, I will certainly share it amongst all my followers across this country, to do your job. stand up for Canada, stand up for safety, stand up for victims, and put violent criminals where they belong, back in jail. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.